Britta. Your book is Dreams and Nightmares, Martin Luther King Jr., Malcolm X, and the Struggle for Black Equality in America. It compares these two men. After listening to that excerpt from the play, I wonder how much you think they were getting closer to each other toward the end of their lives, because MLK was getting more radical and Malcolm X was becoming more universalist. And in what ways were they never likely to see eye to eye, no matter how long they lived?
Yeah. Well, there were certainly, there was a big change, of course, in Malcolm's life after his split with the Nation of Islam, and after his Hajj to Mecca and coming back and not saying anymore that the white men were all blue-eyed devils, and really, as you said, broadening his approach and founding his own organization, the Organization of Afro-American Unity, where whites were welcome to join the struggle. And Martin, on the other hand, after his experiences, sort of the backlash after 1963, should I get closer to the mic? Okay, sorry. After he started moving north, Martin Luther King experienced what Malcolm X had been fighting before, namely the institutionalized, entrenched racism in the northern cities, especially in Chicago. And this is when he slowly started to realize that just changing the laws that would make segregation illegal would not really change the de facto segregation in the lives that kept people apart. He was noticing that the social inequality was a really important factor. As he put it once, what's the point in making it legal for an African American to go and have a burger in the same restaurant as a white person can when you don't have the money to buy the burger? And this is why he started to radicalize his position tremendously. And when you read the last speeches of Martin Luther King, for example, that were published in The Trumpet of Consciousness, the last book, which was actually posthumously published, and it's his last sermons that he gave, they were so radical that no American broadcasting station, no offense, even dared to publish them. They were broadcasted from Canada. And he was really saying that he saw his dream turned into a nightmare, and that America needed a revolution of values. So he was definitely talking of revolution and saying, it's just not feasible that we're spending all this money on the war in Vietnam, and there's not enough money, to raise children and have healthcare and education for them. So this is definitely, in the last months of their lives, both of them sort of merged to a position from where on, and this has been pointed out before and in the play, a cooperation would have been possible. I still believe, though, that there were some other differences. As you were saying, there were some points where they would not have wanted to see eye to eye. And this was, for example, for Martin Luther King, nonviolence was not just a strategy to use. For him, nonviolence was really a philosophy of life, to really sort of love your enemy, and his whole faith that undeserved suffering could be redemptive. I don't know if any of you listened to the sermon that he gave at the funeral of those 4 little girls that got killed in Birmingham. He said something like, the blood of these little girls may help to save the soul of America. And there were very, very few people in the civil rights movement at the time that could follow him there, that were really able to say, we're willing to suffer Christ-like almost, to take away the sin of America, the segregation. And Malcolm was definitely not eye to eye on that one. He would always say, I'm not calling you to. Malcolm was always, and this is also something that a lot of younger people today don't know. They always look at the pre-Mecca Malcolm, the guy who stood for by any means necessary. One should not forget, Malcolm X never ever called people to, to just shoot people, but he was for self-defense. And self-defense was something that Martin Luther King would have not done. He would have turned the other cheek. And I think that's where the two were still different.
Thank you very much.